Ever wish your PS5 could double as an anime episode? From flashy JRPGs to over-the-top fighters, these games don't just look anime, they feel like stepping into one. Today, we're counting down 10 anime-style PlayStation 5 games that play like your favorite series brought to life. Let's dive in.
10. One Piece Odyssey. You hear anime JRPG and your brain probably goes, great, another recycled game with some shell shading and a lazy gacha system. But One Piece Odyssey does something different because it actually respects its source material. This isn't just another cash grab tie-in. This is a full-scale, original turn-based JRPG built around a brand new story overseen by Eiichiro Oda himself. And here's the kicker, it's not just a new arc. You relive some of the biggest sagas in One Piece history, Alabaster, Water 7, Marineford, but they're warped, broken, and your crew has to fight their way through alternate versions of their own trauma. It's nostalgic, but twisted. Combat-wise, it's got range. You're not just spamming attack buttons. Odyssey uses a zone-based system, meaning your team and the enemies are split across different battlefields. Luffy might be dealing with flying enemies in one area, while Zoro's slicing through tanks in another. And switching up strategies on the fly? Required. Each Straw Hat has unique abilities. Sanji gets stronger when there are women in his group. Chopper is your status cleanser. Zoro's an AoE machine. And Nami? Well, Nami's got her priorities straight. Steal first, fight later. Now, yes, the intro is slow. The game holds your hand a bit too long. But once the story picks up, it turns into a real JRPG experience with side quests, gear upgrades, party dynamics, and even light exploration puzzles. It's not perfect, but for One Piece fans, this is the best game the franchise has had in years. No debate. If you've ever wished you could relive the crew's greatest arcs with full control in battle and no filler in sight, Odyssey is your shot.
Number 9. Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus is the anime game nobody talks about, but the people who played it, they won't shut up about it. Released during a packed launch window in 2021, it flew under the radar. But make no mistake, this is one of the most stylish, most original action JRPGs on PS5. The setup is weird, in the best way. You're a psychic warrior in a futuristic dystopia drafted into an elite military unit that fights grotesque monsters called Others. These aren't your typical anime demons either. Try floating bouquets made of human legs or horse-headed statues with baby arms. It's unhinged. And yes, very anime, but the real magic is in the combat. Scarlet Nexus isn't about weapons, it's about telekinesis. You pick up objects, cars, debris, literal chunks of the city, and slam them into enemies mid-combo. Then you chain in your teammates' powers. Pyrokinesis to burn them, electrokinesis to shock and stun, clairvoyance to counter stealth attacks, and time manipulation to slow everything down and just flex. And it all flows together in a system that feels fast, clean, and wildly satisfying. It's the kind of game that rewards aggressive, creative play, and when you hit your groove, it's pure dopamine. Story-wise, it starts like a typical military academy anime. Tight squads, rival units, secret missions. But then the plot goes deep sci-fi mode. Alternate timelines, government experiments, memory suppression, and psychic cloning conspiracies. Each playthrough, Yuito or Kasan, tells the story from a different angle. And if you don't play both, you're missing half the narrative. Visually, it nails the aesthetic. High contrast, clean outlines, futuristic cityscapes, great character design. Even the menus feel crisp and thematic. And the music? Absolute sleeper hit soundtrack. This isn't just some stylish brawler. Scarlet Nexus is a fully realized universe and one of the most original anime-style games you can play on PS5. If you're into games like Code Vein, Astral Chain, or even Nier Automata, but want something fresh and underrated, this should be at the top of your backlog.
Number 8. Demon Slayer: The Hinokami Chronicles. Let's be real. Most anime games try to imitate the anime. This one is the anime. The Hinokami Chronicles doesn't just recreate Demon Slayer's fights, reanimates them with the same explosive flair Ufotable built its name on. From Tanjiro versus Rui to that rooftop brawl with Inmu, every fight looks like it was ripped straight from the show, but with you pressing the buttons this time. It's a 3D arena fighter, but not the button mash disaster you're expecting. Each character has their own rhythm, spacing, and flow. Tanjiro's water-style combos are smooth and reactive. Zenitsu's lightning strikes are quick and hard to punish. And Inosuke? Total chaos, just like he should be. Special moves have full cinematic cut-ins with camera swings, slow motion, and elemental overlays that look straight up theatrical. And don't even get me started on the ultimate arts. These finishers are so ridiculously over the top, you'll start burning incense just to keep the immersion going. Now, does it have flaws? Yeah, the adventure mode is mid, the exploration between story fights is clunky, and the cutscenes are mostly there to pad time between the actual meat of the game, the fights. But here's the thing, if you're a Demon Slayer fan, you won't care, because when you're mid-air, water-breathing your opponent into a flaming spin slash, you'll only think, this is exactly how it should feel. 60 FPS on PS5, stunning cel-shaded art style, online ranked matches and versus mode, and Season 2 Plus content added with free updates. It's not a flawless fighter, but for pure anime spectacle, it's top tier.
Okay, number 7, Honkai Star Rail. I know what you're thinking. Mobile gacha game, hard pass. But hear me out, because Honkai Star Rail on PS5 is a legit anime JRPG. And it's not just good for a gacha game. It's just good. Developed by Hoyoverse. Yeah, the Genshin people. Star Rail takes everything they learned and flips it into a turn-based sci-fi anime epic that looks better on PS5 than it has any right to. You build a squad of 4 characters, each with distinct roles, attack animations, and ultimate skills. The combat system? Fast-paced, snappy, and far deeper than it looks. You've got enemy weaknesses, energy break mechanics, multi-wave encounters, and synergized ultimates that actually feel earned, not spammed. But where it really shines is in style and presentation. The visuals are anime quality, full voice acting across dozens of hours, expressive character animations, and the UI smooth, futuristic, themed to the game's sci-fi aesthetic down to the menu transitions. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. It's free, no upfront cost. Just download and play. And if you're worried about pay to win, you don't need 5 stars to clear the hardest content. Strategy and team building still carry weight. Full controller support on PS5, 60 FPS, native 4K, 0 mobile jank. Story is shockingly good. Think Trails meets Persona in space. Dozens of waifus and husbandos, all animated like a studio project. Rail is what happens when a mobile dev grows up, gets a PS5 dev kit, and decides to make something real. Anime JRPG fans, don't sleep on this.
Number 6, Ni no Kuni II, Revenant Kingdom. You want anime magic? Here's the closest thing we've got to a Studio Ghibli game that actually plays like a real RPG. Ni no Kuni II ditches the monster collecting grind of the first game and goes full action JRPG with a kingdom to build, a war to fight, and a battle system that's actually fun this time. You play as Evan, a young king trying to build a new nation after a coup. Yeah, it sounds cute, but what you get is a genuinely deep adventure with layered systems. You've got real-time battles with melee and ranged weapons, AI party control, skill loadouts, and elemental effects. You've got kingdom building that ties directly into your gear crafting and economy, and then you've got skirmishes, big tactical army battles that give the world a grander sense of scale. But let's be honest, you're here for the vibe, and Ni no Kuni II delivers. It's colorful, detailed, and fully scored by Joe Hisaishi, the same composer behind Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. The music, the world design, the cutscene framing, it's not just anime style, it's cinematic fantasy through a Ghibli lens. It's not for everyone. The difficulty is light, and the story leans wholesome, but if you want a world to fall into, and one that looks and sounds like a playable film, Ni no Kuni II is pure comfort food. Check. 4K and 60 FPS on PS5, all DLC included in the Prince's Edition, 40 plus hours of gameplay, optional endgame and side arcs, and art style that holds up beautifully. If you grew up on Ghibli, Final Fantasy IX, or Dragon Quest VIII, this is a no-brainer.
Let's talk fighting games. Not Smash, not Mortal Kombat. I'm talking anime fighters, where the screen is chaos, the combos are cracked, and style points are basically the meta. Guilty Gear Strive isn't just the best anime fighter on PS5. It's the one fighting game, full stop, that turned heads at EVO and brought in new players without dumbing anything down. Strive is fast, but not button mashy. It's stylish, but readable. It looks like a 2D anime, but it's all done in 3D, with arc system works absolute wizardry. Every animation, every hit spark, every zoom in is designed to make you look like you're in an anime battle, even if you're just pressing 2 buttons. But here's the best part. Strive has rollback netcode. That means online play is actually viable, even across regions. No more praying to the input gods. You can train, climb, and play real matches without input lag ruining your experience. The roster is stacked too. You've got old school gods like Soul Bad Guy and Kai Kisk, newcomers like Giovanna, and straight up chaos characters like Happy Chaos and Nagaruyuki, each one completely distinct in mechanics and design. It's one of the few fighting games where the soundtrack goes harder than most AAA game combat systems. Every track is a banger. Every match feels like a concert, and if you're not humming Smell of the Game by the end of your first rank set, you are built different. EVO tier fighter with casual friendly depth. Arguably the best visual presentation of any anime fighter, period. Amazing tutorials in mission mode for learning combos, cancels, spacing, and pressure. Constant updates and DLC support with new characters and stages. If you've ever watched anime and thought, I want to be in that fight scene, Strive hands you the controller.
Before we jump into the top picks, real quick, if you're vibing with this list, hit that like button to let YouTube know you want more anime and gaming content. And subscribe if you want breakdowns like this every week. JRPGs, anime fighters, hidden gems, all of it. Now, back to the list.
4. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This isn't Fighter Z, it's not Xenoverse. This is the true successor to Budokai Tenkaichi 3. The Dragon Ball game fans have been begging for since the PS2 era, and it delivers. Sparking Zero doesn't just bring the arena fighter chaos of its predecessors, it amplifies everything. Bigger maps, full-scale destructible environments, a roster of 160 plus characters. That's not a typo. 160 plus fighters from OG Dragon Ball to Super, GT, and What If variants. Combat is explosive and cinematic. Every punch sends shockwaves, every beam clash lights up the screen. And you're not locked into tiny combos. This system's about movement, timing, and momentum. You dash, teleport, launch your opponent into a mountain, then chase them across the map for a mid-air finisher. Sparking Zero adds mechanics like vanish counters, key charge canceling, and ultimate rush attacks that make every character feel viable, whether you're mainlining Super Saiyan 4 Goku or playing as Broly in full kaiju mode. And don't sleep on the episode battle mode. It's not just a retelling of sagas. You can play as Goku or Vegeta and view alternate timelines, rewriting key moments in the Dragon Ball universe. 4K visuals with lighting that make Kamehamehas look radioactive. True 3D flight combat, no lock-in rails, destructible environments on a massive scale. Fan service that's actually fun to play, not just to watch. This isn't just nostalgia bait. It's the Budokai Tenkaichi glow-up we waited 17 years for, and it slaps.
Number 3. Metaphor Refantazio. Let's be real, if this had the word Persona in the title, it'd already be number 1 on every list. But Metaphor Refantazio is something else. It's Atlas Unchained. This is the studio behind Persona 3, 4, and 5, stepping out of the high school corridors and into a full-blown dark fantasy world, but keeping all the core DNA that made them legends. You've still got turn-based combat, but it's modernized. Think real-time dungeon movement, Persona-style enemy weaknesses, and stylish UI that looks like it came out of a design studio's fever dream. You still build bonds, manage a party, and fuse units, but now it's in a world with political factions, divine bloodlines, and lore that's as deep as it is weird. Combat revolves around archetypes, class-like transformations tied to emotions, lineage, and inner potential. It's not just about leveling up, it's about evolving who you are as a fighter, mechanically and thematically. And visually, it's peak anime energy blended with PS5 horsepower. You've got cinematic camera work during attacks, swirling particle effects, and painterly backgrounds that look like RPG art books brought to life. This isn't Persona 6, but in a lot of ways, it's bolder. 80 to 100 hours of story content, fully orchestrated soundtrack by Shoji Meguro, deep political narrative, lore, and faction conflict, stylized turn-based combat with real impact.
Metaphor isn't trying to be your comfort JRPG. It's here to test if you actually pay attention when a studio says, our most ambitious project yet. And spoiler, they mean.
Number 2. Granblue Fantasy Relink. This is the part where casuals check out, but the real ones, they know what Granblue Fantasy Relink is. It's not just a game, it's a statement from Cygames that anime RPGs can look and feel this good. It's like if Tales of Arise, Monster Hunter, and Final Fantasy XIV fused into a high-budget, high-style action RPG with a full anime cast and art direction that melts your retinas. You pick a main character, build a team, and take on fast-paced, real-time missions with combos, dodges, and ultimates that look like boss fights from Fate Stay Night. Each character plays completely different, from sword fighters with slick parries to gunners, mages, tanks, even aerial fighters with vertical juggle potential. And the combat? Tight, responsive, way more technical than it looks. But what makes it shine? 2 words: party synergy. When you coordinate skybound arts into link attacks and burst the enemy shield for a full burst chain, the screen becomes an anime finale. It's cinematic, it's earned, and it hits harder the deeper you get into the skill trees and loadouts. The game includes a full campaign with cutscenes, voice acting, character side quests, and a post-game grind that's basically a full-on raid system for solo or co-op. And on PS5, load times are near instant. 60 FPS stays locked, and it looks like you're playing a trailer from Tokyo Game Show. 18+ unique characters, all fully playable. Co-op and solo play, both supported and viable. Story length, around 30 hours, with another 50 in endgame. The best anime-style action RPG combat system on console right now. If you love anime, action RPGs, party-based combat, or games that look like you dreamed them up when you were 14, Granblue Relink is everything you wanted.
Persona 5 Royal. This isn't just the best anime-style game on PS5. This is one of the best RPGs of all time, period. Persona 5 Royal is the ultimate edition of the game that redefines style in gaming. Everything about it feels deliberate. The UI, the music, the pacing, the vibe. It doesn't just look like an anime, it plays like one. A 130-hour character-driven epic where every moment, from school exams to shadow-slaying boss fights, feels like it matters. You play as Joker, a teenage outcast who forms the Phantom Thieves, a group of vigilantes who literally dive into people's twisted minds to force them to confront their sins. You've got school during the day, relationships to build at night, and dungeon crawling that changes based on whose mind you're inside. Royal upgrades everything. It adds an entire new semester, new confidants, new personas, a new Phantom Thief, and one of the most emotional endings in any RPG, not just anime ones. And on PS5, you get all DLC, faster load times, better performance, and a chance to experience the whole thing in its definitive form. Turn-based combat that still feels modern. One of the most stylish UIs in gaming history. 100+ hours of content that never feels padded. An original story that somehow balances supernatural power, personal trauma, and social rebellion, all without losing its heart. Persona 5 Royal isn't just a must-play. It's the standard all anime-style games now get judged against.
So, did I miss one? Was Persona robbed of the #1 spot, or did Granblue steal the crown? Hit the comments, tell me your favorites, and if this list wrecked your backlog, you know what to do. Like, sub, and I'll see you in the next one.